My guests are Dr. and Mrs. Ng, and Dr. Ng is my boss, and he's the secretary for the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, and Mrs. Ng works for the Hope Channel International. And thanks for joining us. Now, for you, this is Bittersweet Memories coming back to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. How does it feel like to come back after all these years, Mrs. Ng?
Well, this is the first time since we left in 1975, and I really feel so excited to come back, after so many years, 40-some years.
Yeah, and you came here as young missionaries from...
Yes, we just finished our graduation in November 1972.
In Singapore.
In Singapore.
And before graduating, the Southeast Asia Union had already assigned us to go to Cambodia. At that time, the president of the union was Ralph Watts Jr. When we first went to Cambodia, we thought we must have done something wrong. This is a punishment. But the perceived punishment turned out to be a great blessing to us.
Yes.
An experience we will not exchange for anything else.
Now, you had trained as a pastor, right?
Yes.
And they'd trained you how to be a missionary.
Not really. The curriculum did not really cover mission service, mission training, cross-cultural training as such. In fact, the mission component was rather meager. Mission was not as emphasized as it should be, And we were brand new. We did not know what mission service was all about. We were not IDE missionary or international missionaries sent from the General Conference. We were just intra-missionary within a Far Eastern Division. And we went there without Mission Institute, without adequate training, without anyone instructing us what mission service was all about. And take, for example, a group of people from the union and from the church sent us off at the airport in Singapore. They were so happy to see us off, only to find out we did not have visa to go to the country.
A mere technicality.
And so we had to return to the school where we were located. And a week or two later, we applied visa, then off we went again. And of course, this time, the well-wishers were much fewer than what it was before.
So the standard of living in Singapore was very different to what you encountered when you came here. What was it like when you arrived here? How did you feel?
It was not too bad. We were young and ready to do some venturing.
Yes.
The student missionaries wrote to us. They said, we are preparing your honeymoon suite for you. And the honeymoon suite turned out to be an empty nest, empty apartment. But they were very kind. They painted the whole apartment in the Russian Information Center on the top floor of a 4-story building. So we were very grateful for their warm welcome. But it was a stark contrast to what life was in Singapore.
Yes, I'm sure.
We were spoiled with all the conveniences in Singapore. And Cambodia being a foreign country, we did not quite know how to behave, and how to relate to people. And the first assignment given by the union was to study the Khmer language. So this was an area where we make a lot of errors. We had no language preparation whatsoever. And so we merely hire an elementary school teacher to teach us Khmer. And of course, elementary school teacher did what he used to do, and that is to use grade 1 textbook. Memorize all the consonants and alphabets of the Cambodian language, which had its roots in Sanskrit. So it's an extremely complicated language. And so we memorized a lot of words, memorized a lot of sentences, but we couldn't put them to use because we could not communicate when we went marketing and so on, only to find out later that that was not the best way to study language. And it was only months later we discovered by chance a textbook published by the State Department of the United States government, in which they trained missionaries within a short period of time, like 3 months, to speak the Khmer language, emphasizing only on conversation and not on vocabulary. The aim was to build up your confidence to speak the language, to be able to communicate with people. You know, after that, you learn the consonants, the alphabets, the vocabulary, and so on. So we began to make headway after that.
Yeah, how many church members were there when you came?
There were very few of them, probably 17, 18 of them.
Right.
But we had good attendance every Sabbath. Most of them came from the language school itself, students from language school. They relish coming to Sabbath school and worship service because they receive free English tuition, so to speak. You see,
yes.
so they got to practice their English. They got to listen to English lectures. And so the attendance was always good. The chapel was always full. Even Sabbath afternoon, we had what we call the story hour, making use of the 10-volume Bible story written by Arthur Maxwell. And that's where we got a lot of converts. And so every few months, we will have baptisms. So when we had baptisms, we had to go to the church by the presidential palace. The baptistry was there, and it was a time of great rejoicing. When before we left, we had 33 members.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to be talking a little bit later in the program. We're actually here at the Genocide Museum, which commemorates a very unfortunate time in Cambodia's history, which actually began about 3 weeks after the Ings were evacuated out of Cambodia. But we'll talk about that some more a bit later.